Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to make a bullet chart. So let's talk about how to make a bullet chart. Over here I have my three qualitative items, so I have bad, medium, and good. I have my current value and I have the target value. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a stacked column chart. So let's see if this works. I'm going to highlight B3 through C5. I'm going to go to Insert. I'll go over here to the stacked, to the column chart. So I'll select stacked. Okay, so it looks like it didn't bring them all in. So let me fix that. I'm going to right click, go to select data. I'll click the switch row column. Okay, perfect. So now it's all kind of stacked. So as you can see, we already actually kind of have the bare bones of this. I'm going to make these just a little bit bigger so I can see what's going on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see that we have our different shaded items. This one is bad, this one is medium, this one is good. So I'm going to just make this a little skinnier. And I'm going to right click on this, and I want this whole thing to fill it up, kind of like that, just so we can go for the effect that we want. I'm going to get rid of this horizontal. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on our current bar. That's the one that tells us our current value. So that's 275. That's this one right here. I'm going to hit Control C to copy it. I'll select within the plot area. That's going to paste it. So it pasted it on top. So here we have the value one. So to get the effect that we have over here, what we're going to need to do is move this over to another axis and then put it on top. So I'm going to right click this. I'm going to go to Format Data Series. Over here where it says primary axis, secondary axis, I'm going to click secondary axis. Now you can see that it put it on a secondary axis. So if I go over here and I make this one just a little bit bigger, one of the problems that we have is that this axis is different. So this one goes from 0 to 350, this one goes to 0 to 300. We need them really to go to the same thing. So we know that the top of this is going to be 300 or 350. Let's make it 300 because over here our first qualitative scale is 200. Our next one is 50, 50. The sum total of that is 300. So let's make both of these the size of 300. I'm going to right click here. We'll go to Format Axis. You see over here it brings up this context pane. On yours it might bring up a pop-up dialog box depending on whether you're using Excel 2010 or not. But either way it's the same. So over here we have minimum. We'll make the minimum 0. And then under the maximum we're going to make it 300. I'll click over here. Our minimum, now it already appears here, but it's not fixed because it says auto over here. So I'll type in 0 here. Now it turned to reset. You're going to have to do the same if you're in 2010 or earlier. I'm just going to reaffirm here that it's from 0 to 300. So then I can take this one. This is our current bar. I could make that actually smaller, kind of like that. So you see this is already starting to take the form that we want. The next thing we want to do is add our target. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to hit Control C. I'll just select within this chart. I'll hit Control V to paste it, and you can see that it placed the target right on top of it. So I've pasted the target value on top of this chart. So this is up here, and we know we don't want that. In fact, it needs to look kind of like a crossbar like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on this chart. We're going to click Change Series Chart Type. That's going to bring up this Change Chart Type dialog box. And under where it says Target, that's the one we're interested in. We're going to go change that to an XY scatter plot. So you're going to just click scatter over there. You're going to click OK, and it's going to put this tiny little dot right here. So once this dot is right here, we can select it, and we can go to Add Chart Element from on the Design tab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go add error bars, and I'm going to go here to the Add Chart Element. I'm going to go to More Error Bar Options. And then under Fixed Value, I'm going to select a value here. So in this case, it says 0.5. Let's just make it something, or 0.1. In this case, it says 0.1. Let's make it 0.5. Now you see that's a lot bigger. Let's make it 0.25. So that looks a lot better. So now we have a kind of crossbar effect. So let's start formatting all of this so it looks correct. So over here, this is kind of our background. Let's make that kind of a shaded scale. So I'm going to go with the, let's see here. I'm going to go with this gray right here. I'm going to take that middle gray. And then I'll go one gray on top, like that. And then I'll go another gray on top of that. I'll select this middle one here, and I'll make that black, like so. Okay, so this is kind of better. I kind of like when the gap width is a little bit smaller here. So now we have this extra axis over here. We don't really need that. It's not really telling us anything. Over here, I have the cross that I made. So let's see here. If I go to Format Selection, one thing I don't really like is that it had those capped ends. So we're going to go to no cap on the ends. And then I kind of want to make it thicker. So with it selected, I'm going to click Shape Outline on the Format tab. I'll make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to go to the weight. I'll make that kind of a little bit bigger too. So you see it's looking how we want it to go, but it has this kind of weird marker in the middle, that blue marker. So we don't want that blue marker. I'll select the series again. We're under marker options. I'm just gonna select none. That'll flip that off. So let's see here. Let's make this one just a little bit smaller. Sometimes I go the wrong way. Okay, so that gives us the effect we're looking for. So in this case, we see the target is 175, but maybe we went a little too low and it should be 275. You can see it updates automatically. So I can also make this 225 like that. And here you have your bullet chart. And so what I usually recommend doing is putting kind of a descriptive item up here, like revenue. It doesn't have to be very long, and that sits kind of on top of your chart, like so. I'm going to make that bold, make it bigger. And then we don't typically need this one down here, so I'll select that and I'll hit delete. And so that's how you make a bullet chart. So this is how you make a horizontal one. This is how you make a vertical one. Now you might want to make a horizontal one, and that one's actually a little trickier. So we'll talk about it in the next demo.